Alright guys, welcome back to another skin health reversal video, and in today's video I want to talk about really my number one tip for building your ideal gut health reversal diet. So this is something that I use with my clients in my one-on-one coaching program. This is something that we try to pay a lot of attention to, and it's obviously one of these nuanced easier said than done sort of things, but at the same time I think by you guys following this really sort of simple principle, it's going to put you on the fast track and allow you to get results a lot quicker in terms of figuring out what diet works best for you. Because this is, another thing I say all the time is, if you follow my page, it's all about figuring out what foods work best for you and also what combination of foods work best for you. Once you kind of figure that out, you take a look at the primal framework and say, these are the foods in this framework that work best for me, and say, I do better high fat, low carb, or maybe you're someone who does better raising those carbs a little bit, bringing the fat down. Once you figure all that out and figure out what's ideal for you and your health indicators, then really it's just a matter of, staying disciplined and sort of riding the process out. So like I said, this is something I pay a lot of attention to with the people that I'm working with, because it really, it rests in simplicity. It's all about simplicity, keeping things simple. The more moving parts you have in your diet, the more difficult it is to read, and the more difficult it is for your digestive system to process what's going on. The simpler things are for your digestion, the more efficient it becomes, because it gets really used to you eating these simple foods, keeping things simple for it. It's not getting confused. You're not throwing all sorts of things in there. There's not a lot of moving parts. Alright, so the tip I want to cover in this video is what I refer to as the 8-food baseline. So what this means is I want you guys to take the primal framework that we're working with here. So ruminant meats, so things like beef, lamb, elk, bison, then you got fish, chicken, eggs, fruits, vegetables, honey, potatoes, so potatoes, sweet potato, raw dairy if you can get your hands on it, grass-fed butter. This is sort of the general framework that we're working in. So what I want you guys to do is look at that list of foods and pick 8 foods out of that list to experiment with, and just stick with those 8 foods for a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long you feel like it. And obviously I kind of just named out a general foods. So when I say, fruits and vegetables, like if you're putting together your 8-food baseline, don't just say one of your foods is vegetables. Pick a vegetable. Pick 2 vegetables. Pick 1 fruit. Pick 2 fruits. Figure out which vegetables, which fruits work best for you. And as I keep saying, not only which vegetables and which fruits work best for you, but how much of them work best for you. Alright, so here's an example of an 8-food baseline that you can throw together. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the baseline that you should be working with, but just for the sake of example, I'm going to throw one together for you. Let's say you're eating beef, eggs, chicken, fish, so 4. You have some grass-fed butter, asparagus, bananas, berries. So that would be 8 foods. And just stick with those foods, write it out, see how it works for you. And like I said, there's different ways to do that. 2 people can be eating the same exact foods, but one person could have their macronutrients at 60% fat, 30% protein, 10% carbs, and the other person could have it at 40% fat, 30% carbs, 30% protein. So not only are you trying to figure out what foods within the framework work best for you, but you got to figure out what macronutrient ratios work best for you. All right, so how are you supposed to know what 8-food baseline works best for you? How are you supposed to know what foods work best for you and what macronutrient combinations work best for you? And this is something that I'm always talking about. This all goes back to your health indicators, things like energy, digestion, how you're going to the bathroom, sleep, libido. These are the things that are going to tell you if you're heading in the right direction with your diet. So let's say you're eating a certain 8 foods. For the sake of argument, let's say you're eating kind of a high-fat, low-carb framework, and let's say you're eating the 8-food baseline that I was talking about before. You're keeping your carbs really low, eating a lot of fat. Let's say you've done it for 2 weeks, and your energy is just kind of crap. It's not where you want it to be, and that may be and obviously there's external factors. You could be getting, not an insufficient amount of sleep. There could be all sorts of other things going on, stress. But if you want to turn to diet and you think your diet's the thing that is causing the lack of energy, The first place that I would turn to is the macronutrient combinations. If you're trying the high fat, low carb, try bumping those carbs up a little bit and see if that brings that energy back. If you're someone who, let's say your digestion is a little bit off. When you're going to the bathroom, maybe you're constipated, maybe they're a little bit loose. You're just not having a clean, good experience when you're going to the bathroom. That's where I would play around with your fiber intake. Don't get me wrong, it could be a trigger food that you're throwing in there. Maybe you're eating potatoes, you don't do well with potatoes, but typically that is a fiber issue. You may be eating too little fiber, you may be eating too much fiber. It's really important to find sort of that threshold for your fiber intake and figure out what you need. So what you guys should take away from this, what I would do is take a look at the primal framework, think of what foods in that framework appeal to you most, and stick with those foods. Pick 8 foods that appeal to you most out of the framework, stick with those foods, pick a macronutrient combination. So let's say you're going to do maybe like a 40% fat, 30% carbs, 30% protein. Do that for 2 weeks. Pick 8 foods, pick a macronutrient combination, do it for 2 weeks. And after that, read your health indicators. See how you feel. If you think there's adjustments that need to be made, maybe pick a different 8-food baseline, maybe stick with the same baseline, but experiment with a different macronutrient combination. Raise the fat, lower the carbs, however you want to do it. This process of figuring out your best ideal gut health reversal diet it's a process of experimentation. So just keep playing around with this. Keep a journal. Write down your 8-food baseline, write down the macronutrient combination you're trying out, and journal your health indicators and journal how you're feeling for those 2 weeks. And I'd say, give it 2-week, maybe month-long spans experimenting with different baseline and different combinations. Just keep stabbing away at these different frameworks and these different ideas, and eventually you're going to even out those health indicators and they're going to be in the right place. Because I always say, everybody's perfect, ideal gut health diet is out there. It may be very elusive for some of you to find, but it's out there for everybody. And no 2 people's diets are going to look exactly the same, but everybody's answer is out there, and you just have to go through the process. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. As usual, please reach out in the comments with any questions you have. This is a really simple tip that I'm giving you guys, but like I said, I think if you guys can stay disciplined with it, and really, it gives some great structure. So it's like, for these 2 weeks, I'm going to do this. For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do this. If you can just stay disciplined and follow it, I think it's going to get you guys, like I said, sort of on the fast track to figuring out what works best for you. So like I say, as always, reach out in the comments if you have any questions, and if you're looking to become a one-on-one coaching client of mine, I'm going to leave a link in the description, and if you're new to my page, I'm also going to leave a link to watch my free 45-minute skin health reversal training video. So all I got for you guys, I'll see you in the next one.